All right. Leviticus chapter 11. All right. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying to them, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, These are the animals which you may eat among all animals that are on the earth. Among the animals, whatever divides the hoof, having cloven hooves, and chewing the cud, that you may eat. All right, so we're talking about foods permitted and forbidden to eat. All right, this is the Old Testament, remember. Nevertheless, these you shall not eat among those that chew the cud of those that have cloven hooves. The camel, because it chews the cud, but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. The rocky hyrax, because it chews the cud, but does not have cloven hooves, it's unclean to you. The hare, because it chews the cud, but does not have cloven hooves, is unclean to you. All right, so those are unclean. And the swine, though it divides the hoof, having cloven hooves, yet does not chew the cud and is unclean. So we have swine, we have hare, which is like a rabbit, uh, the rock hyrax, not sure what that is. Got a camel, so no eating camel. All right. Here we go. Their flesh, so the swine, that is important. The swine, that's like a pig. Their flesh you shall not eat, and their carcasses you shall not touch. They are unclean to you. These you may eat of all that are in the water, whatever in the water has fins and scales, and whether in the seas or in the rivers, that you may eat. But all in the seas or in the rivers that do not have fins and scales, all that move in the water, or any living thing which is in the water, they are an abomination to you. Do not have fins. So if they don't have fins, you can't eat. They shall be an abomination to you. You shall not eat their flesh, but you shall regard their carcasses as an abomination. Whatever in the water does not have fins or scales, that shall not be an abomination to you. And these you shall regard as an abomination among the birds. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination: the eagle, the vulture, the buzzard, the kite, the falcon after its kind. So no eating those animals. Every raven after its kind, the ostrich, the short-eared owl, the seagulls, the hawk, and after its kind, the little owl, the fisher owl, and the screech owl, the white owl, the jackdaw, the carrion vulture, the stork, the heron, after its kind, and the hoopoe, and the bat. So no eating any of that. First and foremost, no eating. Notice it says the bat, so no eating bats. All right, that's an abomination. All right. All right. So here we go. All flying insects that creep. Let me see. All insects that creep. Let me see here. All flying insects that creep off fours shall be an abomination to you. Yet those you may eat of every flying insect that creeps on all fours, which have jointed legs above their feet, which to leap on the earth. These you may eat: the locust after its kind, the destroying locust after its kind, the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. But all other flying insects which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. So no eating those. By these you shall become unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of any of them shall be unclean until evening. Whoever carries part of the carcass of any kind shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. The carcass of any animal which divides the foot, but is not cloven hoofed, or does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Everyone who touches it shall be unclean. And whatever goes on its paws among all kind of animals that go on all fours, those are unclean to you. Whoever touches any such carcass shall be unclean until evening. Whoever carries any such carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. It is unclean to you. These also shall be unclean to you among the creeping things that creep on the earth: the mole, the mouse, and the large lizard after its kind. So no eating those animals that are unclean: the gecko, the monitor lizard, the sand reptile, the sand lizard, and a chameleon. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Whoever touches them when they are dead shall be unclean until evening. So you should be unclean till evening if you touch them. All right, Leviticus chapter 11, verse 32. Anything on which any of them falls when they are dead shall be unclean, whether it's any item of wood or clothing or skin or sack, whatever it is, in which any work is done, it must be put in water, and it shall be unclean until evening. Then it shall be clean. So you have to clean yourself if you touch anything. Any earthen vessels into which any of them falls, you shall break, and whatever is in it shall be unclean. In such a vessel, any edible food upon which water falls becomes unclean, and any drink that may be drunk from it become unclean. And everything on which a part of any such carcass falls shall be unclean, whether it is an oven or cooking stove, it shall be broken down, for they are unclean and shall be unclean to you. Waterfalls become. All right. Nevertheless, a spring or a cistern in which there is plenty of water shall be clean, but whatever touches any carcass becomes unclean. So, got to be very careful with carcasses. All right. Dead bodies, like dead animals. And if part of any such carcass falls on any planting seed which is to be sown, it remain clean. But if water is put on the seed, and if a part of any such carcass falls on it, it becomes unclean to you. And if any animal which you may eat dies, he who touches it, carcass shall be unclean until evening. No touching dead animals. He who eats of its carcass shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. He also who carries it, carcass, shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. So if you become unclean, you got to wash all your stuff and be unclean until evening. And every creeping thing that it creeps on earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatever crawls on its belly, whatever goes on all fours, or whatever has many feet among all creeping things that creep on the earth, these you shall not eat, for these are the abomination. You shall not make yourselves an abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, nor shall you make yourselves unclean with them, lest you be defiled by them. For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore consecrate yourself, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourselves with any creeping thing that creeps on this earth. So it says, you shall be holy, for I am holy. All right, that's what God says. For I am the Lord who brings you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the animals and the birds and every living thing. All right, so he's talking to his children of Israel, which is the people he brought out of Egypt. All right. Creatures that move in the waters, of every creature that creeps on earth, to distinguish between the unclean and the clean, and between the animals that may eat and the animals that may not be eaten. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a woman has conceived, so we're on Leviticus chapter 12. If a woman has conceived and born a male child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, as in the days of customary impurity, she shall be unclean. And on the 8th day, the flesh of the foreskin shall be circumcised. So a woman is unclean after she gives birth for 7 days. On the 8th day, you circumcise your child, and she shall be clean again. She shall then continue in the blood of her purification 30 days. She shall not touch any hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purification are fulfilled. But if she bears a female child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her customary impurity, and she shall continue in the blood of her purification 60 days. All right, 30 days for a male, 60 days for a female. All right, she shall be unclean. When the days of her purification are fulfilled, whether for a son or a daughter, she shall bring to the priest a lamb of her first year as a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or turtle dove as a sin offering to the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then she shall offer it before the Lord and make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean from the flow of her blood. This is the law for her who was born of a male or a female. And if she is not able to bring a lamb, then she may bring 2 turtle doves, two young pigeons, one as a burnt offering and the other as a sin offering. So the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean. All right. So she's unclean, she becomes clean, and then she has to do a burnt offering, a sin offering, and she shall bring 2 turtles, 2 young pigeons, burnt offering, and a sin offering. Chapter 13, Leviticus. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when a man has on the skin of his body a swelling, a scab, or a bright spot, and it becomes on the skin of his body like leprous sore, then he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of the sons of the priest. The priest shall examine the sore on the skin of the body, and if the hair on the sore has turned white, then the sore appears to be deeper than the skin of his body. It is leprous sore, and then the priest shall examine him and pronounce him unclean. So the priest says, are you clean or unclean? And if there's a white spot, it becomes leprous. But if the bright spot is white on the skin of his body and does not appear to be deeper than the skin of his hair, has not turned white, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the sore 7 days. So you have to isolate 7 days. All right. So this is very, very important. All right. I know we just went through COVID. All right. There's a lot of, hey, you have to isolate. So isolation, that's in the Bible. That's biblical. All right. And it says here, you have to isolate for 7 days. All right. You have to isolate 7 days. If you have leprosy, or you might have leprosy, you have to isolate 7 days. And the priest shall examine him on the 7th day, and indeed, if the sore appears to be as it on the sore has not spread on the skin, then the priest shall isolate him another 7 days. So you get checked 7 days, and like, hey, another 7 days. And the priest shall examine him then the priest shall examine him again on the 7th day, and indeed, if the sore has faded, and the sore has not spread of the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is only a scab, and he shall wash his clothes and be unclean. Clean. So you're trying not to get leprosy. But if the scab should at all spread over the skin after he has been seen by the priest for the cleansing, he shall be seen by the priest again. All right. That's very important. So it's like you got to see the priest every 7 days and be pronounced clean or unclean. All right. That's what's going on there. All right. Here we go. Hi, how's it going? Let me see here. All right. So Leviticus chapter 11, verse 8. And if the priest sees that the scab has indeed spread on the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprosy. So we're trying to avoid leprosy here. All right. First and foremost, we're trying to avoid leprosy. When the leprous sore is on a person, then he shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the swelling on the skin is white and it has turned the hair white, there is a spot of the raw flesh in the swelling. It is an old leprosy on the skin of his body. The priest shall pronounce him unclean and shall not isolate him, for he is unclean. Shall not isolate him, for he is unclean. And if leprosy breaks out all over the skin, and the leprosy covers all the skin of the one who has the sore, from his head to his foot, wherever the priest looks, then the priest shall consider, and indeed, if the leprosy has covered all his body, he shall pronounce him clean. Who has the sore, it shall all turn white, he is clean. But when raw flesh appears on him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall examine the raw flesh and pronounce him to be unclean. Where the raw flesh is unclean, it is leprosy. Or if the raw flesh changes and turns white again, he shall come to the priest. And the priest shall examine him, and indeed, if the sore has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. Who has the sore, he is clean. If the body is developed a boil in the skin and is healed, and in place of boil there comes a white swelling or a bright spot, reddish white, then it shall be shown to the priest. And if when the priest sees it, indeed appears deeper than the skin, and his hair has turned white, the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is leprous sore which has broken out of the boil. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there are no white hairs in it, it shall not be deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him 7 days. So isolate him 7 days. And if it should at all spread over the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprous sore. So pretty much we're trying to avoid leprosy here. All right. First and foremost, we're trying to avoid leprosy. All right. It's like, hey, it's got leprosy, yes or no. All right. So that's what's going on here. Or if the body receives a burnt on its skin by fire, and the raw flesh of the burn becomes a bright spot, the red is white, then the priest shall examine it. And indeed, if the hair is bright spot has turned, let me see, has turned, it appears deeper than the skin. It is leprosy broken out in the burn. Therefore, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is leprous sore. All right. Here we go. But if the priest examines it, and indeed there is no white hairs in the bright spot, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall isolate him 7 days. So making sure there's no leprosy. All right. First and foremost, making sure there's no leprosy here. What is this? Button, do, top chat, live chat. Okay. How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. All right. Let me see here. How's it going? How's it going? All right, here we go. And the priest shall examine him. So we're making sure there's no leprosy because you're unclean, and you have to isolate for 7 days. All right, that's pretty much what's going on here. All right, let's go to Leviticus chapter 13, verse 28. But if the bright spot stays on one place and has not spread on the skin, but has faded, it is swelling in the burn. The priest shall pronounce him clean, or it is a scar from the burn. If a man or woman has a sore on the head or the beard, then the priest shall examine the sore. So if you have a sore, excuse me, you're going to be examined by the priest, and he's going to determine whether you are clean or unclean. All right. It is a scaly leprosy of the head or the beard. But if the priest examines the scaly sore, and indeed it does not appear deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale 7 days. And on the 7th day, the priest shall examine the sore. And indeed, if the scale has not spread and there is no yellow hair in it, the scale does not appear deeper than the skin. He shall shave himself, but the scale he shall not shave. And the priest shall isolate the one who has the scale another 7 days. A lot of avoiding leprosy. All right. Make sure to avoid leprosy. So that's pretty much chapter 13. Avoid leprosy. All right. Do not. And isolate. If you have leprosy, isolate. Concerning leprosy, chapter 13. Yep. Leprosy. Ritual after childbirth was chapter 12. Concerning leprous garments. That is verse 47. All right. Oh man, it's getting late. It is 10 o'clock over here. About 10:15. All right. How's it going? How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. Sister Wells, how are you doing? Thank you very much for being on. All right. Yeah, I feel like it's getting late over here. It's barely 10 o'clock over here. How's it going? I just saw your message. Sister Wells, how are you? Reading the book of Leviticus. All right, we just read leprosy. All right, avoid leprosy, and pretty much you're going to be examined by the priest. Like, hey, do you have leprosy? Yes or no? And then going to determine whether you isolate for 7 days. All right, and then we have chapter 11, forbidden foods. All right, and it tells you all the foods that you can't eat: camel, swine, hare, which is rabbit. Don't touch carcasses. And then we have the sea animals. Anything that without what is it? Let me see. Also, we have no ravens, ostrich, seagulls, hawks. No eating any of those. These you may eat of every flying insect that creeps on all those feet. These may eat. You can eat crickets. You can eat grasshoppers. All right. But all other flying insects have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you. So no eating others. All right. By these you shall become unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of any. So no touching carcasses. Dead animals. None of that. All right. So that's what's going on. That was chapter 11. Let me see what else you cannot eat. All right, no eating carcasses. All right, animal dies. There's no like, oh, I found an animal dead and I'm gonna eat that. There's none of that. All right. It says, "For I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore consecrate yourselves, and you shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall you defile yourself with any creeping thing that creeps on earth. For I am the Lord who brings you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. You shall therefore be holy, for I am holy." All right. All right. So that is chapter 13. We're going to chapter 13, verse 47. I'm going to read, and then I'm going to start another video. All right. For chapter 14. Also, if a garment, so this is containing garments. If you have leprosy, containing garments. Also, if you have garment has leprous plague in it, whether it is woolen garment or linen garment, whether it is warp or woof of linen or wool, whether leather or anything made of leather, and a plague with greenish or reddish, if the garment or in the leather, whether it is warp or in woof or in anything made of leather, it is leprous plague and shall be shown to the priest. All right. Then the priest shall examine the plague and isolate that which has the plague 7 days. And he shall examine the plague on the 7th day. If the plague has spread on the garments, either warp or woof, leather or anything made leather, the plague is an active leprosy, is unclean. So these are practices that we could have used like during COVID. Like these are practices that we could have done during COVID. All right. It's like, hey, in this case, it's leprosy. It's like, hey, if you have leprosy or symptoms of leprosy, you have to be isolated 7 days and then rechecked again after 7 days. And if you still have symptoms, another 7 days of isolation. All right. So this is very biblical. All right. This is very, very biblical. When there was COVID going around, like we could have went to the Bible and be like, all right, what do we do when somebody is unclean? All right. When you have, let's say, a cough, or hey, you don't want to spread it, there's isolation. All right. You have to isolate 7 days. Then after 7 days, you get checked up again. And it's like, hey, whether that determines whether you're going to be isolated for another 7 days or not. So it's very, very biblical. We could have just came to the Bible and read that part, and it would have been like, okay, well, you're unclean, then 7 days. And then, so I know it's talking about leprosy, but it could have been used during COVID. These are practices that could have been used during COVID, because these are practices to not spread it. It's like, hey, if you have leprosy, don't go around hanging around with people and then it gets spreaded out. So, I mean, that could have been used there. Here we go. Verse 57, chapter 14, verse 57. But if it appears again in the garment, either in the warp or in the woof or anything made of leather, it is spreading plague. You shall burn with fire, in which it is plague. And if you wash the garment, either warp or woof or whatever it is made of leather, if the plague has disappeared from it, then it shall be washed 2nd time and it shall be clean. So not only do you isolate, but you got to wash your clothes. All right. These are practices, biblical practices. This is the law of the leprous plague and the garments of wool or linen, either the warp of woof or is anything made of leather, to pronounce it clean or to pronounce it unclean. All right. So if you have clothes, you coughed all over it, and it has COVID, whatever, wash it, or it says burn it. It says wash it twice, pretty much. It says, but if it appears again, a garment, either in warp or in woof or anything made leather, it is spreading the plague, you shall burn it with fire, in which it is plague. So if your clothes is spreading a germ or something, it's pretty much saying either you burn it, if it's under like burn it. But it says here, and if you wash the garment, either warp or woof, whatever is made leather, if the plague has disappeared from it, it shall be washed a 2nd time and shall be clean. So you wash it, it's clean. Wash it again. All right, now it's considered clean. So wash it twice. So these are practices that could have been used during COVID. All right, wash your clothes. Pretty much don't let the germs spread. All right, pretty much that's what it's saying. Don't let the germs spread. All right, here we go. Then the Lord spoke to Moses saying, so we're going to Leviticus chapter 14. All right, Leviticus chapter 14. Then the Lord spoke to Moses saying, this shall be the law of the leper of the day of cleansing. He shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall go out of the camp, and the priest shall examine him. And indeed, if the leprosy is healed, then the priest shall command to take for him who is cleansed to living, and clean birds, cedar wood, scarlet, hyssop, and the priest shall command that one of the birds be killing in an earthen vessel over running water. Here we go. As for the living bird, he shall take it cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop, and dip them and the living bird of the blood of the bird was killed over the running water, and he shall sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to cleanse from the leprosy, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose in the open field. He who is cleansed shall wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, and wash himself in the water, and he may be clean. After he shall come into the camp, and shall stay outside his tent 7 days. Isolation, all right? But on the 7th day he shall shave all his hair off his head, and beard and eyebrows of his hair, and shall shave off. He shall wash his clothes and wash his body in the water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take 2 male lambs without blemish, 1 ewe lamb on the first year without blemish, 3/10 of an ephah, and fine flour mixed with oil and grain offering, and 1 log of oil. So we got the grain offering again. Then the priest who makes him clean shall present the man who is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. And the priest shall take 1 male lamb and offer it as a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and weigh them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he shall kill the lamb in the place where he kills the sin of the offering and the burnt offering in a holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest, so it is a trespass offering. It is most holy. The priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. How's it going? Oh, yeah. How's it going, Sister Wells? I am here. How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it into the palm of his own left hand. Then the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle some of the oil with his fingers 7 times before the Lord. And the rest of the oil in his hand the priest shall put some on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, of the blood of the trespass offering. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put on the head of him who is to be cleansed. So the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. Then the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him who is to be cleansed from the uncleanness. Afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the grain offering on the altar. So the priest shall make an atonement for him and shall be clean. But if he is poor and cannot afford it, then he shall take 1 male lamb as a trespass offering and be waved to make an atonement for him, 1/10 on an ephah, and a fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, a log of oil, and 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons, such as he is able to afford. One shall be sin offering and the other burnt offering. He shall bring them to the priest on the 8th day of the cleansing to the door of the tabernacle and meeting before the Lord. And the priest shall take the lamb on the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall weigh them as a wave offering before the Lord. Then he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering and put it on the tip of the right ear of him who is to be cleansed. So he puts the blood on the right ear, him to be cleansed, who is to be cleansed, on the thumb of his right hand and on 1 big toe of the right foot. And the priest shall pour some of the oil onto the palm of his hand, his own left hand, so on his left hand. Then the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put some of the oil that is in the hand on the tip of the right ear to him who is to be cleansed, right ear, on the thumb of the right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot, and the place of the blood of the trespass offering. So that's a lot going on there. The rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put on the head of him who is to be cleansed, to make atonement for him before the Lord. There's so much. That's a huge process, all right, just to be cleansed here. And he shall offer 1 of the turtle doves, a young pigeon, such as he can afford, such as he is able to afford, the one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering with the grain offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him who is to be cleansed before the Lord. This is the law for one who has a leprous sore, who cannot afford the usual cleansing. So if you had leprosy, this is how you get cleansed. Like, this is a long process. Uh, Leviticus chapter 14, verse 33. All right, thank you for being on. All right, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, when you have come into the land of Canaan, which I give you as a possession, and I put leprous plagues in a house in the land of your possession, and he who owns the house comes to tell the priest, saying, it seems to me that there is some plague in the house. Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest goes into to examine the plague, that all that is the house may not be made unclean. And afterwards the priest shall go and examine the house. So now it's the house. You got to examine the house. You got to make sure the house gets clean. So remember during COVID, hey, first off, you know, you have to be clean. Your clothes has to be clean. And now you got to make sure your house gets cleaned out. All right, and that's what's going on here. Now it's like, hey, we got to examine your house. Afterwards, the priest shall go and examine the house, and he shall examine the plague. And indeed, if the plague is on the walls of the house with ingrained streaks, greenish or reddish, which appears to be deep in the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house of the doorhouse and shut up the house 7 days. Like, hey, we got to wait for this to go away. All that to do with germs, all right? And the priest shall come again on the 7th day and look indeed if the plague has spread on the walls of the house. Then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which is the plague, and they shall cast them into the unclean place outside the city. So it's like, hey, remove those stones, and you know, like, hey, the plague has got on the house. So that is huge. And he shall cause the house to be scraped inside all around, and dust that they scrape off shall pour out in an unclean place outside the city. And they shall take other stones and put them in the place of the stone. He shall take other mortars, plaster the house. So you got to pretty much redo the house. All right, so we're dealing with germs here. All right, it's biblical, the book of Leviticus. You're dealing with, all right, this plague. Now, if the plague comes back and breaks out in the house after it's taken away the stones, after that he has scraped the house and after he has plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and indeed if the plague has spread in the house, it is active leprosy in the house, it is unclean. The house is unclean. And he shall break down the house, its stones, its timber, and the plaster of the house, and shall carry them outside the city to be unclean place, to an unclean. So pretty much get rid of the house. If it's just all over the house, you can't get rid of it. You can't replace certain stones. Get rid of the whole house. That is crazy. Moreover, he who goes into the house at all while it is shut up shall be unclean until evening. And he who lies down in the house shall wash his clothes, and he who eats in the house shall wash his clothes. All right, so this is huge to remember. During COVID, I mean, this would have been extremely convenient. Like during COVID, it's like, hey, how do you remain clean? All right, it's pretty much telling you how to be clean, how to live, you know. I know during COVID, like, hey, you had to clean your whole house, you got to, you know, disinfect. Man, these are simple, man. But if the priest comes in and examines it, and indeed the plague has spread after the house is plastered, take the cleanse. Let me see here. Then the priest shall pronounce the house clean because the plague is healed. So if the priest comes and it stays clean, then it's pronounced clean. You don't got to knock down the whole house. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, cedar wood, scarlet, hyssop. Then he shall kill one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet, and living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. You know, you're cleansing the house. And he shall clean the house with the blood of the bird and the running water and the living bird with the cedar wood and hyssop and the scarlet. And he shall let the living bird loose outside the city in an open field and make atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. So now you got to spiritually make it clean. How's it going, sister? We are on Leviticus chapter 14, verse 54. All right. So this is a clean and unclean house. All right. So it's like, now we don't have to do this thing right here with the bird. We don't have to cleanse the house. Oh yeah, no problem. But these are good practices to remember. It's like, hey, this during COVID, I mean, this would have been very convenient. It's like, hey, you know, are you clean or unclean? I know I had COVID pretty bad when I was coughing all over the place, so I would have been considered unclean, and I would pretty much have to go to a room and be isolated, and I could not have contact with anybody because I am considered unclean. And it says 7 days, and then you shall be, somebody should take a look at you and see if you became clean. So I would have to take medicine maybe, and be in prayer, take medicine, and in 7 days somebody looks at me, or every few days somebody will look at me and be like, is he getting better or not? Is he clean or unclean? And then once you become clean, you have to wash all your stuff. So it also says you got to wash all your stuff, wash all your clothes, wash. And in this case, it's leprosy, and it's the leprosy gets on the walls. And in this case, it was even like, hey, it's on the walls. You see red spots, like that's leprosy on the wall, and that had to be replaced, scraped off, redone. And then if it spread again, you pretty much have to knock down the whole house, get rid of the whole house, because like leprosy spread it pretty bad. So in this case, we're talking about leprosy, but I'm just saying, using as an example, COVID. We could have used these isolation rules. You're unclean for 7 days at least. Man, I know it was pretty bad during COVID, but hey, thank you very much for being on. All right, please don't forget to subscribe and like. I would really appreciate that. I'm trying to push the algorithm up a bit. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sister Wells. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. We're going to Leviticus chapter 15. All right, Leviticus chapter 15. Actually, did I finish reading? I'm going to read 52 real quick. And shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird. 53. Then he shall let the living bird loose outside this. Okay, I read that. This is the law for any leprosy, sore, and scale. For the leprosy of a garment of a house, for a swelling and a scab and a bright spot. To teach when it's unclean, when it is clean, then it is the law of leprosy. So that's the law of leprosy. Hey, being clean, knowing what's clean, unclean. All right. Here we go. Chapter 15 of Leviticus, the law concerning bodily discharges. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any man has a discharge from his body, his discharge is unclean, and he shall be his uncleanness in regard to his discharge, whether his body runs with his discharge or the body is stopped up by his discharge. It is his uncleanness. Every bed is unclean on which he who has discharge lies, and everything on which he sits shall be unclean. I guess like vomit, discharge, like something coming out of your body, vomit. And whoever touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Again, germs. Wash your clothes and bathe in water, and you're unclean until evening. He who sits on anything on which he who has discharge sat shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. So if you come in contact, you're unclean. You got to wash all your stuff as well. And he who touches the body of him who has discharged shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. So pretty much you're going to be scared of coming in contact with somebody who is unclean. If he who has discharged spits on him who is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Any saddle on which he who sits has discharged rides shall be unclean. Whoever touches anything that was under him shall be unclean until evening. He who carries any of those things shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. And whoever the one who has discharged touches and has not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, bathe in water, and be unclean until evening. Chapter 15, verse 12. The vessel of earth that he who has discharged touches shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he who has discharged is cleansed of his discharge, them he shall count for himself 7 days. For his cleaning, wash his clothes, and bathe his body in running water, then he shall be clean. On the 8th day he shall take for himself 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, and come before the Lord to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and give them to the priest. So now you got to make a sacrifice, Then the priest shall offer them as one of sin offering and burnt offering. So the priest shall make an atonement for him, the Lord, because of his discharge. If any man has an emission of semen, that he shall wash all his body in water and be unclean until evening. All right, so if you have a discharge of semen, you shall be you're unclean. And any garment and any leather in which there is semen, it shall be washed with water and be unclean until evening. Also, when a woman lies with a man and there is an emission of semen, then you shall bathe in water and be unclean until evening. If a woman has discharged, and discharged from her body is blood, she shall be set apart 7 days, and whoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. So if a woman's bleeding, you're unclean. Remember also, when you give birth, you're considered unclean. 14 days for the male, 30 days if you have a female. All right. So if you have discharge, that's concerning discharge. All right. So this is the children of Israel. Remember that, the children of Israel. If a woman has discharge, and a discharge from the body is blood, she shall set apart 7 days, and whoever touches her shall be unclean until evening. Everything that she lies on during her impurity shall be unclean. Also, everything that she sits on shall be unclean. Whoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. And whoever touches anything that she sat on shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. If anything is on her bed or on anything in which she sits, when he touches it, he shall be unclean until evening. And if any man lies with her at all, so that her impurity is on him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and every bed on which he lies shall be unclean. If a woman has a discharge of blood for many days other than the time of her customary impurity, or if it runs beyond her usual time of impurity, all the days of her unclean discharge shall be as the days of her customary impurity. She shall be unclean. Every bed in which she lies all the days of her discharge shall be to her as the bed of her impurity. So if she's bleeding, she is unclean at the moment. And whatever she sits on shall be unclean as the uncleanness of her impurity. Whoever touches those things shall be unclean. He shall wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. But if she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count for herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take for herself 2 turtle doves of 2 young pigeons, bring them to the priest to the door of the tabernacle meeting. Then the priest shall offer the one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord and discharge of her uncleanness. So you have to do the sin offering and the burnt offering. Thus you shall separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, lest you die in their uncleanness when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law for one who has a discharge, and for him who emits semen and is unclean thereby, and for her who is imposed because of her customary impurity, and for one who has discharged, either man or woman, and for him who lies with her who is unclean. All right. So we're about to go to Leviticus chapter 16. So we just talked about 15, which is very, very important because it involves discharge and bleeding and semen and what to do, and make sure you clean all your stuff. So God is very important to be clean. All right. Wash all your clothes, wash your bed, wash everything, and be clean. Live a clean life. All right. Not only a clean spiritual life, but clean physically. All right. Avoid sickness, avoid anything from spreading uncleanness. Man, this is huge because later on in the New Testament, Jesus is going to say, hey, y'all practice so much cleanness, but yet your heart is not clean. Now, this is, foreshadow for later on. Hey, your heart, keep your heart clean. Have a clean heart. All right. It's not just about physically clean all the time. It's your heart. Is your heart clean? All right. That's what Jesus is going to say. He's like, hey, y'all focus so much on, clean dishes. You wash your clean cups, but yet food goes in your inside, which your inside is not clean. All right. So Jesus emphasizes not only, being clean out here, but being clean inside your heart. So have a clean heart. All right. So that's going to be huge. All right. So, but right here, we're practicing cleanness. We're practicing on, this so much. And this is like, it seems like it's just like, okay, it's just a little bit here and there, but really it's about, for one, it's like we're trying to avoid in the nation of Israel from losing population, for one. All right. So it's like, hey, don't eat these animals, these are unclean animals and these are clean animals, right? You eat an unclean animal, a good chance is you're gonna catch something, you're gonna pretty much die. All right, remember, there's no medicine, there's none of that. All right, and then we have leprosy. So it's like, man, the spread of leprosy goes through everybody. Like, you're gonna lose a big population, kind of like COVID happened. When we had COVID, we lost a lot of population, right? And it's sad. Now in this case, it's like, hey, we're trying to build the nation of Israel. If one person catches leprosy, it's like, hey, 7 days you isolate, and then you get checked on, and then whether you're clean or not clean, 7 more days. So that's what's going on. It's like, hey, we're trying to maintain population here. We're trying to grow, not die. Because you got to remember, you got to think about it. If one person catches leprosy and they're just around, they don't isolate, a good chance is more people going to catch it, and then it's going to spread throughout, and they're going to lose a huge population, like the way COVID happened. All right. So it's saying, hey, isolate 7 days. So the rules for COVID, we could have easily looked it up right here. Like, it could have, like, hey, isolate, clean all your clothes, and that could have been easily determined. All right, which we got it right though. We did the isolation, and they said wash your clothes, and they just didn't give God credit for all that. That's the only thing. They didn't, like, oh, that is biblical. Nobody ever pointed that out. Like, it is biblical. All right, like, isolate and clean your clothes. Now, hey, disinfect your household, because then it says pretty much you're disinfecting your household, because you have somebody look at your house to make sure leprosy didn't spread all over your house. In this case, is make sure the COVID didn't spread all over your house. In that case, hey, disinfect your house, disinfect everything, to make sure it's not spread around your house. It's even so extreme here that uh, if you can't stop the spread of leprosy in your house, like it says, pretty much, break the whole house down and put it in an unclean area in the city. So that's what's going on here. It's like, hey, now remember, we're still in the book of Leviticus. We're not in the promised land yet. We're not in Israel yet, but we're practicing good practices before we go into the land of Israel. So he's telling us what foods to eat, what not to eat, how to be cleansed, how to do a burnt offering, how to do a sin offering. All this before we go into the promised land. It's like, hey, when we go into the promised land, there's going to be rules, and there's going to be regulations, and there's going to be cleanness. Like, hey, this is what you're going to do. So they're not ready to go into the promised land yet. All right. So keep that in mind. They're not ready to go into the promised land. Like, before we go in there, we're setting up these rules. We're setting up that, you're going to be holy as I am holy. And all right. So we still got ways to go before we go to the promised land. We don't get to the promised land until the book of Joshua. But we're going to come real close in the book of Numbers, and then we'll just see what happens there. The book of Numbers, they're going to be afraid to go into battle, and they're going to be like, no, we're going to lose, and they're huge, and God's pretty much going to tell them, you know what, this generation is not going into the promised land. So he's going to pretty much curse that generation. He's like, I'm going to wait till the next generation. Till this generation dies, the next generation is going to go to the promised land. All right, so that's what's going to happen. All right, so we're in Leviticus chapter 16 now. I hope this is making sense, and I hope you find it as interesting as I do. So we are at Leviticus chapter 16. Thank you very much for being on. All right, thank you very much. Let's go. Leviticus chapter 16. Now the Lord spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they offered profane fire before the Lord and died. And the Lord said to Moses, so earlier I read about how Moses' two sons died because they did something. It says here, the Lord spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, when they offered profane fire before the Lord and died. So they were seeing the glory of God, and they offered profane fire, which God did not ask for, and they, were killed. All right. And the Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron your brother not to come at just any time into the holy place in the sight of the veil, before the mercy seat, which is on the ark, lest he die. For I will appear in the cloud above the mercy seat. Thus Aaron shall come into the holy place with the blood of the young bull as a sin offering, and a ram of the burnt offering. So it's like, when shall he come in? It's like, well, when you see the cloud, which is the glory of God. So God is physically showing himself to the nation of Israel. Like you see the cloud and like, oh, God's here, right? You see the glory of God. So the glory of God is very, very visible here in the Old Testament. The book of Leviticus, it says here, um, tell Aaron your brother not to come in at any time in the holy place inside the veil before the mercy seat, which is on the ark, lest he die. For I will appear in the cloud above the mercy seat. Thus Aaron shall come into the holy place with the blood of the young bull and a sin offering of the ram and a burnt offering. He shall put the holy linen tunic and the linen trouser on his body. He shall gird it with the linen sash, and with the linen turban he shall be attired. These are the holy garments. Therefore he shall wash his body in water and put them on. All right, so like, hey, make sure you come in wearing this exact clothes. And he shall take from the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats as a sin offering, and 1 ram as a burnt offering. Aaron shall offer the bull as a sin offering, and for himself to make an atonement for himself and for his house. He shall take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then Aaron shall cast lots for 2 goats, and 1 lot for the Lord, and the other lot for the scapegoat. So here's the term scapegoat. Have you ever heard the term scapegoat? All right, like, oh man, he's just a scapegoat. Well, the term is biblical. It's a biblical term. The scapegoat is the one that's going to take all the sins. All right, that's what the scapegoat is. It's like, hey, here's our scapegoat. He's going to take all of our sins. Like, hey, put all your sins on the scapegoat. Blame, pretty much the scapegoat is going to take everything. So here we go. Then Aaron shall cast lots of 2 goats, and one to the Lord and the other for the scapegoat. And Aaron shall bring the goat on which the Lord's lot fell, and offer it as a sin offering. But the goat on which the lot fell to be scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord to make an atonement upon it, and to let it go as the scapegoat into the wilderness. So you let the scapegoat go into the wilderness. Hey, he's carrying all of our sins, and then gone. He's into the with our sins. And Aaron shall bring the bull of the sin offering. All right, so first off, you have a sin offering. So I'm going to read that again. And Aaron shall bring the goat in which the Lord's lot fell, and offer it as a sin offering. So you have one as a sin offering, but the goat which the lot fell to be a scapegoat shall be presented alive before the Lord, and make atonement for it, and let the scapegoat into the wilderness. So one is sacrificed, and the other one goes into the wilderness. And Aaron shall bring the bull of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make atonement for him, for his house, and shall kill the bull as the sin offering, which he for himself. Then he shall take a censer full of burning coal of fire from the altar before the Lord with his hand, full of sweet incense beaten fine, bring it inside the veil. And he shall put the incense on the fire before the Lord, that the cloud of incense may cover the mercy seat that is on the testimony, lest he die. He shall take some of the blood of the bull and sprinkle it with his finger on the mercy seat on the east side, and before the mercy seat shall sprinkle some of the blood with his finger 7 times. Then he shall kill the goat of the sin offering, which is for the people, bring his blood inside the veil, do with blood as he did with the blood of the bull, and sprinkle it on the mercy seat before the mercy seat. So he shall make atonement for the holy place because of the uncleanness of the children of Israel, because of the transgressions of their sins. And so she shall do for the tabernacle of meeting, which remains among them in the midst of the uncleanness. There shall be no man in the tabernacle of meeting when he goes into make atonement in the holy place until he comes out, that he make atonement for himself, for his household, and for the assembly of Israel. And he shall go out to the altar that is before the Lord, and make atonement for it, and shall take some of the blood of the bull and some of the blood of the goat, and put it on the horn of the altar all around. Then he shall sprinkle some of the blood on it with his fingers 7 times, cleanse it, and consecrate it from the uncleanness of the children of Israel. And when he has made an end of atonement for the holy place, then the tabernacle of meeting and the altar, he shall bring the live goat. And so it's like, all right, after you do all this, when he has made an end of atoning for the holy place, the tabernacle and the meeting, he shall bring the live goat. So this is the scapegoat. Aaron shall lay both his hands on the head of the live goat, confess over it all the iniquities of the children of Israel, and all their transgressions concerning all their sins, putting them on the head of the goat. and shall send it away into the wilderness by the hand of the suitable man. So that is huge. This is very, very important. Leviticus chapter 16, verse 21. Actually, I'll start with Leviticus chapter 16, verse 20. So we're going to get the live goat, which is the scapegoat, right? That's where the term scapegoat comes from. And when he has made an end of atonement for the holy place, the tabernacle of meeting and altar, he shall bring the live goat. So here comes the scapegoat. Aaron shall lay both his hands on the head of the live goat, confessed over it all the iniquities of the children of Israel. So all the iniquities, all the sins, and all their transgressions concerning all their sins, putting them on the head of the goat. So put all your sins on this goat. Like, hey, these are my sins. Sins of adulterers, sin of this, sin of that. Put it all on his head. And shall send it away into the wilderness by the hand of the suitable man. And like, all right, on you go, scapegoat. That is what a scapegoat is. All right, you put all your sins on, hey, we got to blame somebody. Like, hey, put it on the goat and then send them away. Like, all my sins are on this goat and he's sent away. Usually this is done during Passover, all right, which just happened. It's like, hey, this is the time where my sins are to be forgiven. Now, remember, our sins have already been forgiven if you accepted Christ. All right, that is pretty much our scapegoat. It's like, hey, our sins have been forgiven. All right, Jesus Christ has came, died for us on the cross. All right, his blood cleanses our sins. That's how it is. So we're reading the Old Testament right now. This is the Old Testament. Jesus dies over here in the New Testament. All right. The goat shall bear on itself all their iniquities to an uninhabited land, and he shall release the goat into the wilderness. Then Aaron shall come into the tabernacle of meeting, shall take off the linen garment which he put on. He went into the holy place, and shall leave them there. And he shall wash his body with water in a holy place, put on his garments, come out and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people. And then once again, the fat of the sin offering shall burn on the altar. And he who released the goat as a scapegoat shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water, and afterwards he may come into camp. So you're washing yourself a lot. The bull for the sin offering and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought to make atonement in the holy place, shall be carried outside the camp, and they shall burn in the fire their skin, their flesh, and their offal. All right. Then he who burns them shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water, and afterwards he may come into camp, and he shall be a statute forever for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, he shall afflict your soul and do no work at all, whether native or your own country, or a stranger who dwells among you. For on that day the priest shall make atonement for you to cleanse you, that you may be clean from all your sins before the Lord. So it's like, this is the tradition, all right, before Jesus died for us on the cross, is use the scapegoat. For on that day the priest shall make atonement for you to cleanse you, that you may be clean from all your sins before the Lord. It's like, hey, I'm clean now. All right. It is the Sabbath of solemn rest for you, and you shall afflict your souls. It is a statute forever. It is a Sabbath of solemn rest for you, and you shall afflict your souls. It is a statute forever. And the priest who is anointed and consecrated to minister as priest in his father's place shall make atonement and put on the linen clothes and the holy garments. Then he shall make atonement for the holy sanctuary, and he shall make atonement for the tabernacle of meeting and for the altar, and he shall make atonement for the priests and for all the people of the assembly. This shall be an everlasting statute for you to make atonement for the children of Israel and for all their sins once a year. And he did as the Lord commanded Moses. All right. So it's like, hey, make atonement once a year. This shall be an everlasting statute for you to make atonement for the children of Israel for all their sins once a year. And he did as the Lord commanded Moses. So it's a commandment to Moses. So we're about to go into chapter 17. All right. I actually want to study this a little bit more. Leviticus chapter 16, verse 34. And I'll tell you why. So I'm going to have to study this. All right. Because it says here, this process, this shall be an everlasting statute for you to make atonement for the children of Israel for all their sins once a year. And he did as the Lord commanded. So this is for the children of Israel. If you're one of the children of Israel, you do this process once a year. Now, Jesus Christ has died for us on the cross. All right, so our blood atonement has already been made for us. All we have to do is accept Jesus Christ. Now, the children of Israel is like, hey, so you're doing this process, but at the same time, what if you accepted Christ? Like, do you still do the process? So I'm gonna have to look this up. All right, so that's a research that I'm gonna have to do. But that's why we read God's word, and it's like, all right, we do more research. But in this case, I want to say that if you're a children of Israel, that you accept Jesus Christ, but at the same time you still do this blood atonement, but it's not really in a blood atonement. It's just like a tradition. It's like, hey, let's do the tradition. All right, so that's what I want to say that you do, because you do have to accept Jesus Christ. That is our salvation. Accepting Jesus Christ is our salvation. It's not the scapegoat, and that's not our salvation anymore. Well, actually, it was never our salvation as Gentiles. We're Gentiles. This is for the children of Israel. And also keep in mind, it keeps saying, Moses, tell the children of Israel. We are not the children of Israel. We are Gentiles. All right? We don't do these things. All right? So now we're going to Leviticus chapter 17. Thank you very much for being on. Please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. All right? Let's help the algorithm push my content out. That'll be, I'll be thankful. All right? All right, we're going to Leviticus chapter 17, sanctify of blood. This is huge. How do we sanctify of the blood now? Jesus Christ. We're sanctified by Jesus Christ's blood now. But this is before Jesus Christ has died for our sins. This is the Old Testament. We are this far in the Bible. All right. All right, chapter 17 of Leviticus. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron, to his son, and to all the children of Israel. So once again, the children of Israel. And say to them, this is the thing which the Lord has commanded, saying, whatever man of the house of Israel who kills an ox or lamb or goat in the camp, or who kills it outside the camp, real quick, 16, verse 34, Leviticus. I'm going to study that a little bit more. And does not bring it to the door of the tabernacle of meeting to offer an offering to the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, the guilt of bloodshed shall be imputed to the man. He has shed blood, and the man shall be cut off from among the people. All right, so this is one of the ways to be cut off from the people, is whatever a man on the house of Israel who kills an ox or lamb or goat, a camp, who kills it outside the camp and does not bring it to the door of the tabernacle. So you can't just kill a lamb, an ox, just to kill it. You can't kill those. If you kill one, it's to make it as an offering. All right. Chief, how's it going, man? How was your test? I hope everything went well. Man, this is huge stuff here. These are foundations. I'm reading Leviticus. These are foundations. Like, hey, like there's so much here. Blood atonement. All right, it's blood atonement here. The old style, the old way. Now our blood atonement is Jesus Christ. All right, so it says you can't just kill a lamb just to kill a lamb. You kill a lamb to make a sacrifice. Here we go. 17 verse 5. To the end that the children of Israel may bring their sacrifice which they offer in the open field, that they may bring them to the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, to the priests, and offer them as peace offering to the Lord. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood on the altar of the Lord at the door at the tabernacle of meeting, and burn the fat for a sweet aroma to the Lord. They shall no more offer their sacrifices to demons, after whom they have played the harlot. This shall be a statute forever for them throughout their generations. So no sacrificing to demons, after whom they have played the harlot. All right, they shall be statute forever for them throughout their generations. Also you shall say to them, whatever man of the house of Israel, or of the stranger who dwells among you, who offers burnt offerings or sacrifice. So another thing I want to point out, oh yeah, I take it tomorrow morning. DMV was packed. Okay. Yeah, man. DMV. We got to pray that the DMV don't be packed, because they're always packed. All right. So one thing I want to go back to is one way to get kicked out of out of the people is if you kill an ox, lamb, or goat for no reason at all, and you don't offer it as a sacrifice. All right. So there is ways to get kicked out of the people here. It says, cut off from among his people. So you're part of the nation of Israel. You do one of these things, like, hey, you kill an ox, a goat, pretty much a holy animal, you get kicked off from your people. All right, here we go. 17 verse 8. Also you shall say to them, whatever man of the house of Israel, or if the stranger who dwells among you, who offers a burnt offering or sacrifice, and does not bring it to the door of the tabernacle meeting to offer it to the Lord, the man shall be cut off from among his people. This is serious. He says, even if you're a Gentile and you kill a lamb and you don't bring, like, hey, be cut off. And whatever man of the house of Israel, or of the stranger, who's the stranger? Non-house of Israel, which is Gentiles, us, who dwells among you, who eats any blood, I will set my face against that person who eats blood, and will be cut off from him among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls. The life of flesh is in the blood. All right, so there's no eating blood. All right, there's no like, hey, I eat blood. Like, no, there's none of that. This is huge, man, because there's demonic practices that they do stuff like this, and there's power in the blood. All right, there's life in the blood. That is huge. For the life of flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement for the souls. Yeah, this is huge, man. This is huge. Like, there's no like, hey, we're gonna drink blood. Like, there's none of that. Like, that's demonic. That's literally demonic. Like, and we hear, I've heard about these practices. Like, oh, they're gonna do this, and they're gonna, they're gonna use the blood, and then they're gonna, pass it around, and it's like, dude, that's demonic. Like, you're messing with your soul. You're messing with your insides. That is wickedness. For the life of flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that makes atonement for the souls. So if you see any kind of practice like this, using blood, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've heard stories, man. I've heard stories where they do stuff like that, and they're messing with souls. That's what they're doing. They're messing with souls. It's like, hey, drink some of this blood, and it's like, no, there's none of that. Like, there's a ritual with blood is demonic. All right, is pure wickedness, demonic. And it says, do not do that. It says here, the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood to make atonement for the souls. So if a demonic person wants your soul somehow, like, hey, we're gonna make a pact, we're gonna do a ritual, and it involves blood, and then you're gonna drink it, you're messing with the soul. All right, you're messing with the soul, and you're giving your soul to wickedness. Horrible. That's actually one of the worst things you can do. It makes me upset because that's just horrible, and people do that, and it's like horrible. Therefore I said to the children of Israel, no one among you shall eat blood, nor shall any stranger who dwells among you eat blood. Whatever man of the children of Israel, or the stranger who dwells among you, who hunts and catches any animal or bird that may be eaten, he shall pour out his blood and cover it with dust. So if you kill an animal, you drain the blood out. Hey, clean it first, drain the blood out, cover it with dust, for it is the life of all flesh. It is the blood sustains his life. Therefore I said to the children of Israel, you shall not eat the blood of any flesh, for the life of all flesh, it is blood. Whoever eats it shall be cut off. So you're cut off. Like, if you eat blood, you're cut off. All right? There's no eating rare. There's no eating rare food. Like, hey, no, you cook it properly. You drain the blood. Make sure all the blood is out, and then you eat it. All right? That's what it's saying here. And every person who eats what died naturally or what was torn by beasts, whether he is native of your own country or stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening. Then he shall be clean. If he does not wash them or bathe his body, then he shall bear his guilt. So if you do something like this, it says for your own country, and also this applies to Gentiles. Blood sausage. No, I haven't heard of that. But that just sounds horrible. So this applies to Gentiles. Like, if you're like hanging around with, this like I said, this is Old Testament, so there's more cleanse of food now. But what I'm saying here is like, hey, do not eat blood, and don't do no blood rituals. Do not do no blood rituals. That is demonic. All right, that's what it's saying here. Because, hey, Jesus died for us on the cross. All right. He did a blood atonement. All right. The holy way. Like, hey, this is a blood atonement. I'm doing a sacrifice for you, for us. All right. Jesus Christ did a sacrifice for us. That's why we having a blood atonement. This has already been done for us. All we have to do is accept Christ. You accept Christ, you accept the blood atonement. This is the foundation of salvation. How do you get saved? You accept the blood atonement. Do you accept Jesus Christ? Do you accept his blood? Hey, you have his blood on you. You are passed over. Easy as that. That is huge, man. That is huge. That is stick around because we are going to go into chapter 18, the laws of sexual morality, and that is going to be huge. So these are all foundations. These are biblical foundations. All right. This is huge. We went through a foundation of blood atonement, foundation of sacrifice being made, and that's foreshadowed to Jesus Christ. He makes our sacrifice for us. He is the sacrifice. He is the lamb, the official lamb of God. All right. We're sacrificing lambs over here. Hey, we already had a lamb sacrifice for us. All right. And every person who eats would die naturally or what torn by beasts, whether he is native, so native meaning us who are non-children of Israel, of your own country, or a stranger, that's us Gentiles, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe in water and be unclean until evening, then he shall be clean. But if he does not wash them or bathe his body, then he shall bear his guilt. Bear your guilt. We don't want to bear our guilt, all right? Hey, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It'll push out the algorithm so I can push my content out. I love doing lives, man. I love talking about the Bible. I love just putting it out there. Please, I'll be very much appreciated. All right, Leviticus chapter 18. All right. No, I've never heard the blood sausage. That is crazy. All right, Leviticus chapter 18, sexual immorality laws. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, so the Lord speaking to Moses, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am the Lord your God. According to the doings of the land of Egypt, where you dwelt, you shall not do. So remember everything y'all were doing in Egypt? Do not do that. So Egypt is doing it wrong. And according to the doings of the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you, you shall not do, nor shall you walk in their ordinance. Hey, they're doing things a lot differently. Do not do what they do. You shall observe my judgment and keep my ordinance to walk in them. I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach anyone who is near of kin to him to uncover his nakedness. I am the Lord. So don't do this. Don't uncover nakedness. Remember that happened with Noah. His son saw him naked. The nakedness of your father or the nakedness of your mother you shall not uncover. She is your mother. You shall not uncover her nakedness. Don't see your mom naked, pretty much, or your father. Remember, before God said this, Noah's son saw his father naked, and he brought his brother and told him, look, father is naked. And that kid, he was cursed, all right? And the brother, he covered up his dad. He like, hey, like, that's not right. Let's cover him up. And he wasn't cursed because he covered him up, all right? So this, don't see your mother or your father naked. The nakedness of your father's wife you shall not uncover. It is your father's nakedness. The nakedness of your sister, the daughter of your father, or the daughter of your mother, whether born at home or elsewhere, their nakedness you shall not uncover. Don't see your siblings naked. The nakedness of your son's daughter, the nakedness you shall not uncover, for theirs is your own nakedness. The nakedness of your father's wife, daughter, begotten by the father, she is your sister. You shall not uncover her nakedness. Do not see your family naked. You shall not. So it's like, today is like, it's common sense, but God is making it, he's putting it on writing. Hey, don't, and it's sad, but this world is something else, man. But it's here in writing. Do not see your family naked. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister. She is near of kin. She is near of kin to your mother. She's near of kin. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your father. Brother, you shall not approach his wife. She is your aunt. Don't see your aunt naked as well. So So your father's sister, don't see her. Don't see no. Don't see. That's just. It's like it's common sense today, but putting it in writing. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what's going on here. It's like clarifying, and it is biblical. It is very biblical. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your daughter-in-law. She is your son's wife. You shall not uncover the nakedness. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your brother's wife. It is your brother's nakedness. Don't see your brother's wife naked. You shall not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, nor shall you take her son's daughter or her daughter to uncover her nakedness. They are near of kin to her. It is wickedness. It is wicked. All right, it is wicked. Nor shall you take a woman as a rival to her sister to uncover her nakedness while other is alive. All right, don't take a woman as a rival to her sister. Also, you shall not approach a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is in customary impurity. Moreover, you shall not lie carnally with your neighbor's wife to defile yourself with her. Don't lie with your neighbor's wife. You know, that is like common sense. Don't lie with your neighbor's wife. All right. And you shall not let any of your descendants pass through the fire of Molech, nor shall you profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. So God here says, I am, capitalize, the Lord. So I know it's talking to the children of Israel, but it's common sense. It's like, hey, it's like, oh, but it's Old Testament. Yeah, don't look at your family naked. All right. Old Testament or not, don't look at your family naked. That's first and foremost. You shall not lie with a male as with a woman. It is an abomination. Nor you shall not lie with a male as with a woman. Let me see here. As with a woman, it is an abomination. Nor shall you mate with any animal to defile yourself with it. Nor shall any woman stand before an animal to mate with it. It is perversion. So don't mate with animals. All right. This is the second time this is mentioned. Don't mate with animals, male or female. Do not defile yourself with any of these things, for by which all the nations are defiled. The nations are defiled, which I am casting out before you. So they're practicing this stuff in Egypt and Canaan. Remember, that's how the chapter started. Hey, don't practice the stuff in Egypt or Canaan. That is huge. So this is going on. Like it's telling like, hey, this is happening in other nations. Is it happening to we live in a crazy world, man. It's crazy. But God says here, do not do these things. All right. For the land is defiled there before I visit the punishment of its iniquity upon it, and the land vomits out its inhabitants. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, either any of your own nations or any strangers who dwell among you. So keep my statutes and judgments. So these are statutes and judgments. Do not do them. For all these abominations the men of the land have done who were before you, and thus the land is defiled. So the people that are using the land right now, the land of Israel, they're doing these things, and do not do them. The land is defiled. Lest the land vomit you out when you defile it, as it vomits out the nations that were before you. All right, that's very important. The land vomits you out also when you defile it. So the nation is, as it vomits out the nation that were before you. It's important that we don't do this as a nation. All right, that's first and foremost. It is very, very important that we don't do these things as a nation. Our nation, man, it's our country. Like, hey, let's protect our country. Let's preach God's word, and let's do things the right way and not promote these kind of things. All right, because it says the land vomit you out also when you defile it. Don't defile our land. Don't defile the land as it vomits out the nations that were before you. For whoever commits any of these abominations, the person who commits them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore you shall keep my ordinance, so that you do not commit any of these abominable customs which were committed before you, and that you do not defile yourselves by them. I am the Lord your God. So God himself is saying this. Don't do these things. All right. It's an abomination. People before you were doing them. You don't do them. All right. So he's making that correction. All right, here we go. Chapter 19 of Leviticus. Chapter 19. Thank you very much for being on. All right, please like, subscribe. I'll be very thankful. All right. All right. I am going at an hour and 20 minutes so far. I'm going to go, I'm going to try to go another. I'm going to try to do a live tomorrow as well, and then I might take a break on Thursday. Here we go. Chapter 19. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, so now we're going moral and ceremonial laws. Now it's getting good now. All right, we're past the burnt offerings, we're past the peace offerings. We're going into moral laws now. All right. All right, here we go. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I am the Lord your God. I am holy. So be holy like God. Every one of you shall revere his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbath. I am the Lord your God. We're talking to the children of Israel. Keep the Sabbath. Children of Israel, keep the Sabbath. Are we the children of Israel? No, we're not. We're Gentiles. Children of Israel is the covenant of the circumcision. If you came out of Egypt, all right, you are children of Israel. If your ancestors came out of Egypt, you are the children of Israel. And you do Passover, around the time of Easter, and you would know, like, hey, I'm part of the children of Israel. I need to make sure I keep the Sabbath. But these days we go to church on Sunday. Jesus resurrected on Sunday. All right. Do not turn to idols, nor make for yourselves molded gods. I am the Lord your God. All right. Again, don't make idols. And if you offer a sacrifice of a peace offering to the Lord, you shall offer it to your own free will. Don't do an offering forcefully. Do it at your own free will. Hey, if you tithe an offer, do it at your own will. Don't be forced to tithe an offer. Like, you better do it or else. No, do it at your own free will. Because an offering is like a sacrifice. Like, hey, I'm tithing. I'm giving to the Lord. Lord, please accept. Do it at a free will. Do not be forced to tithe or offer. All right. That's relevant to today. Don't feel like you're pressured. Don't feel like you better tithe or you're going to be punished. And this and no. A proper tithe offering is doing it. You shall offer it at your own free will. Your own free will. All right. Your own free will. You can, highlight that. Offer it of your own free will. Don't be forced to offer. Don't be forced to make an offering. Hey, put some, don't be forced to offer. It shall be eaten the same day you offer it, and on the next day, and if any remains until the third day, it shall be burned in the fire. Don't eat 3-day leftovers, pretty much what it's saying. You could eat it the next day, but not the third day. And if it is eaten at all on the third day, it is an abomination. It shall not be accepted. So don't eat the offering on the third day. Therefore, everyone who eats it shall bear his iniquity, because he has profaned the hallowed offering of the Lord, and his person shall be cut off from the people. You got to eat it the second day, not the third. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not wholly reap the corner of the field, nor shall you gather the gleanings of your harvest, and you shall not glean your vineyard, nor shall you gather every grape of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord your God. You shall not steal, nor deal falsely, nor lie to one another. So remember, we're making the rules before we go into the promised land. You shall not steal, nor deal falsely, nor lie to one another. Be honest to one another. All right? Be honest to one another. And you shall not swear by my name falsely, nor shall you profane the name of your God. I am the Lord. Don't swear on God. Don't swear. Don't do it. You shall not swear. Don't swear by my name falsely, nor shall you profane the name of your God. Don't curse the name of God. I am the Lord. You shall not cheat your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of him who hired shall not remain with you all night until morning. Don't, if you pay somebody to help you out, don't keep them until morning. Like, hey, don't overdo it. It said, you shall not cheat your neighbor, nor rob him. The wages of him who is hired. So if you hire somebody, shall not remain with you all night until morning. So it's like, hey, I hired you. You got to work for me all night until morning. No. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put stumbling blocks before the blind, but shall fear your God. I am the Lord. Don't make other people fall. All right. Other Christians, don't make them fall. Don't, hey, I'm going to set a trap. Hey, I'm going to put them in a situation where they're going to fall. Don't do that. You shall not curse the deaf, nor put stumbling blocks before the blind. You shall do no injustice in judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. Don't be partial to the poor. In righteousness, you shall judge your neighbor. If you're going to judge your neighbor, do it in righteousness. You shall not go about as the talebearer among your people, nor shall you take a stand against the life of your neighbor. I am the Lord. Don't take a stand against his life. Like, hey, I saw him kill somebody and this and that. Don't do that. All right. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall surely rebuke your neighbor and not bear sin because of him. Don't hate your brother in your heart. All right. Christians, do not hate your brothers and sisters in your heart. Man, I hate so-and-so that goes to church. Don't do that. All right. Don't do that. You shall surely rebuke your neighbor and not bear sin because of him. If your neighbor makes you mad, rebuke it. Don't cause a sin because of him. All right. Here we go. You shall not take vengeance. Don't take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Remember, Jesus is going to tell us this later on as well. Love your neighbor. Love your neighbor. All right. Love one another as I have loved you. That's the new commandment that Jesus gives us. Do not bear the grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. Jesus is going to say this again when he comes on earth, all right, in the New Testament. So this is all relevant. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your livestock breed with another kind. You shall not sow your field with mixed seeds, nor shall garment or mixed linen and wool come upon you. So don't be mixing animals together to breed. Whoever lies carnally with a woman who is betrothed to a man as a concubine, and who has not at all been redeemed nor given her freedom, for this there shall be scourging, but they shall not be put to death because she was not free. All right. Who lies carnally with a woman who is betrothed to a man as a. So if you lie with a woman who is a concubine, who has not at all been redeemed nor given her freedom, for this there shall be the scourging. So there's a punishment for that, but they shall not be put to death. So there's a punishment, but don't put them to death because she was not free. And he shall bring his trespass offering to the Lord to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, a ram as a trespass offering. The priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering before the Lord for his sin which he committed, and the sin which he has committed shall be forgiven him. When you come into the land and have planted all kind of trees for food, then you shall count their fruit as uncircumcised. 3 years it shall be as uncircumcised to you, it shall not be eaten. But in the 4th year all its fruits shall be holy, a praise to the Lord. And in the 5th year you may eat its fruits, that it may yield to you its increase. I am the Lord your God. You shall not eat anything with the blood, nor shall you practice divination or soothsaying. Do not practice divination nor soothsaying. Like, hey, don't practice I do divine stuff. Don't practice like voodoo, none of that spiritual stuff. Do not practice any divination or soothsaying. Hey, I'm gonna help your life. All that card reading and all that, do not practice it. That's what it's saying here. You shall not eat anything with blood, so don't eat blood, nor shall you practice divination or soothsaying. Man, that is huge. You shall not shave around the sides of your head, nor shall you disfigure the edges of your beard. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh. So if you notice, Jews, they grow the beard. All right. Nor shall you disfigure the edges of your beard. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Don't make any cuttings on your flesh for the dead. Nor tattoo any mark on you. I am the Lord. No tattoo on you, for I am the Lord. All right. So remember, we're talking to the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel is to be holy, for I am holy. I am your God. Remember, that's what it says. For I am your God. So we're talking to the nation of Israel. So it says here, no tattoos, any marks of you. I am the Lord. So if you are part of the the sons of Israel, no tattoos. I grew up in a Old Testament church, all right, and I was very discouraged to not get tattoos, and I just never decided to get tattoos. But I'm not gonna tell somebody not to get tattoos because at the end of the day, it's about loving your neighbor, all right, loving your neighbor, you know. And here it's saying, hey, if you're the sons of Israel, do not get a tattoo. So if you're like Jewish and you're part of the covenant of circumcision and it's been passed on generations, and you're part of coming from Egypt, you shouldn't get a tattoo. So you shouldn't really see a Jew getting who practices the circumcision get a tattoo. All right, that's pretty much what it's saying here. And that's just to be holy. That's like, hey, be holy. Moral and ceremonial laws. So remember, chapter 19 started with, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to all the congregations of children of Israel, and say to them, you shall be holy, for I am the Lord God, I am holy. So we always got to clarify, who are we talking to? The children of Israel. And it says, you shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. Don't cut your flesh, nor tattoo any marks on you. I am the Lord. All right, that is Leviticus chapter 19, verse 28. 19, verse 28. Now, we're Gentiles here. We're not the children of Israel for the most part, unless you are, you practice the covenant of the circumcision. Hey, you wouldn't get a tattoo. But, we're Gentiles, and Jesus Christ has died for us on the cross. But, you do want to aim to be as holy as possible, and these are good things to learn. And I chose not to tattoo my body. So, and at this point, I will tune in next time. Thank you very much, sister, for being on. All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Every time you're on, I appreciate it. All right, here we go. Do not prostitute your daughter to cause her to be a harlot, lest the land fall into harlotry and the land become full of wickedness. Don't prostitute your daughter. You shall keep my Sabbath and remember the sanctuary. I am the Lord. So don't prostitute your daughter. As common sense. Don't do that. Because I've seen that happen, man. It's it's horrible to see that. I've seen that happen, and it's like, oh well, just you'll get some money or this and that. And it's like, no, don't do that to your daughters. Love your daughters. Hey, there's always other answers. Don't prostitute your daughter to cause her to be a harlot, lest the land fall into harlotry and the land become full of wickedness. You shall keep my Sabbath and reverence the sanctuary. I am the Lord. So notice here, we're talking about the children of Israel. All right. But there's a lot of, things that we shouldn't do. Like prostitute your daughter. Do not prostitute your daughter. And I also said, like, not to get tattoos. That is the children of Israel. So it's like, hey, discern. All right. The most important thing is to discern. All right. Like what's good and, hey, what applies the children of Israel and why? Now, it wouldn't be a good idea to prostitute your daughter. All right, so that's important to know. That it wouldn't be important to tattoo your body. Is like, hey, you're Gentile, you tattoo your body. Like, all right, but do not do something like prostitute your daughter. That is just common sense. Like, well, it says it's in the Old Testament. Like, don't do it. And it says here, the land will become full of wickedness. You don't want the land and also your household. You don't want your household to be full of wickedness. Don't do it. All right? You don't want wickedness. Avoid wickedness. You shall keep my Sabbath and remembrance the sanctuary. I am the Lord. Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. Don't go looking for spirits. Oh my, this is huge, especially for a church. Like, do not go looking for spirits. Give no regards to mediums and familiar spirits. So, a card teller, hey, let me talk to your spiritual guide. No, none of that. Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them. Hey, like I seek spirits. No, don't do that. To be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. You will be defiled by them. Like, hey, don't go chasing that. Like ghost hunting. Don't be chasing ghost hunting. I know there's movies and I know there's shows. Don't go ghost hunting. Ghostbusters. Don't be doing all that. Harry Potter. Don't be doing that Harry Potter stuff. Oh, man. Jeez, man. That is huge. Anybody have any comments, by the way? That is huge. You shall rise before the gray-headed and honor the presence of an old man and fear your God. I am the Lord. And if a stranger dwells with you in the land, you shall not mistreat him. Don't mistreat a stranger. Hospitality is huge in the Bible. The stranger who dwells among you shall be to you as one born among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Treat your, neighbors. Treat, you know, visitors. Treat them good. All right. You shall not mistreat them. Don't mistreat guests. You shall do no injustice in judgment and measurement of length, weight, or volume. You shall have honest scales, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. All right. So if hey, I'm gonna pay you account according to the scale, don't have a scale that isn't working right and is in your favor. All right. Don't be tipping the scales. That's pretty much what it's saying. Don't tip the scales. You shall have honest scales, honest weights, an honest ephah, and an honest hin. I've seen this before. When people sell cans or metals, hey, they try to tip the scale a little bit, like try to get an, so don't. It says here, don't be doing that. Don't be tipping the scales. All right. My statutes and all my judgments, and perform them as I am the Lord. That is huge. All right. So we went over so much here. All right. Does anybody have any questions, any comments about this stuff that I just read? Like there is so much here. All right. There is so much. I know the most controversial verse that I read is about the tattoos, but that's why I'm reading the Bible as we go, because I'm making the context. We know the context. We're talking to the children of Israel. The children of Israel shall not make any cuttings in their flesh for the dead, nor tattoo any marks on you. I am the Lord. All right. Now, I just, you know what? I honor the Lord. Like, I'm not going to get tattoos. All right. And I'm doing that for the Lord. And that's just a sacrifice that I'm willing to do. It's like, hey, I'm not even thinking about it. But I grew up in the Old Testament church. And that's one of those things that I decided to keep. You know what? I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep my body clean. I'm not going to cut my body. And I'm going to keep it as clean as possible. So that's something I'm doing for the Lord. Is like, I'm going to keep it clean. But if you're tatted and it's like you go into the church, it shouldn't be like, oh, you're tatted. You're not allowed here. Like, no. Like, hey, we love our neighbors. We, love one another as I have loved you. Therefore, I don't condemn. Like, no. Like, hey, we love everybody. All right. You come seeking the Lord. You come to a church, and hey, all good. Even if you're tatted all the way, all good. I've talked to people who were tatted like in their face, and my dad is all tatted up. And before he was with the Lord, he got all tatted up. And I've seen people judge him. So I don't judge anybody who has tattoos and they try to come to the Lord. Hey, it's all good. All right. It's about the heart. Where's your heart? All right. Here we go. Chapter 20. I've been on here for an hour and almost 40 minutes. All right. Thank you very much for being on. All right. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. Please like. It'll help me out with the algorithm. All right. Please put the like. It'll help me out. Comment. Say hi. Anything. It'll help me out with the algorithm so I can push my content out to more people. All right. Here we go. Leviticus chapter 20. Then the Lord spoke. This is penalties for breaking the law. So if you break the law, what happens? So these are the penalties for breaking the law. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, again you shall say to the children of Israel, whoever of the children of Israel or the strangers who dwell in Israel who give any of the descendants to Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. All right, so this is a death penalty here. So why do you get the death penalty? The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, again you shall say to the children of Israel, whoever of the children of Israel or of the strangers who dwell in Israel who gives any of his descendants to Molech, I know a god, a false god, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Don't be giving people to false gods. I will set my face against that man and will cut him off from his people, because he has given some of his descendants to Molech that defile my sanctuary and profane my holy name. And if the people of the land should in any way hide their eyes from the man when he gives some of the descendants to Molech, and they do not kill him, then I will set my face against him, that man, and against his family, and I will cut him off from the people, and and all who prostitute themselves with him to commit harlotry with Molech, so a god of harlotry and prostitution. All right. So it's like if you see this happening, you have to say something. If you don't say something, you will be cursed as well. So if you see something like this, you have to say something. Man, I got in very bad moments when, you know, I've seen stuff and I've said, and I had to say something because, you have to say, if you see something bad as a Christian person, you have to say something. Hey, that's not right. Hey, God doesn't like that. And a lot of times, hey, you'll get heat for it. And it's like, well, and it's tough, but it's like, hey, you have to say something. You got to say something. Consecrate yourself therefore and be holy, for I am the Lord your God. And you shall keep my statutes and perform them. I am the Lord who sanctifies you. For everyone who curses his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. He has cursed his father and his mother. His blood shall be upon him. Do not curse. In this case, if they curse their mom or dad, you are put to death. It's like, hey, the generation is going to be cut right there. The man who commits adultery with one another's man's wife, he who commits adultery with his neighbor's wife, adulterer and adulteress, shall be put to death. All right. So, hey, we're trying to populate here, and you can't be committing adultery. All right. They will be put to death. The man who lies with his father's wife has uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So God is laying the hammer here. All right. God is laying the hammer. Leviticus chapter 20, God is laying the hammer. Like will be put to death. He's giving out death penalties. Leviticus chapter 20, God is giving out death penalties. All right. Don't go to this false god, Molech, and don't commit adultery. Don't do anything. Now remember, there was a lady that got caught in adultery when Jesus was here. All right. And Jesus said, hey, he who has not committed a sin may cast the first stone, and they did not stone her. All right. But that was, hey, a lot of people were committing adultery. So if you're committing adultery and, you haven't been caught, and you caught a woman being adulterous, she got caught, and you want to stone her, and like, hey, you might want to check your heart. Like, if you're committing adultery, you can't be doing and that's what Jesus was referring to. Like, hey, who here? A lot of people here have committed adultery. It's like, hey, you can't be judging somebody for committing adultery when you have committed adultery. All right. The man who commits adultery with another man's wife, he who commits adultery with the neighbor's wife, adulterer shall surely be put to death. If you're committing adultery in secret, it's not good. It's in your heart. All right. Keep your heart clean. Do not commit adultery. If a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be put to death. They have committed perversion. Their blood shall be upon them. All right. Their daughter-in-law. If a man lies with a male as he lies with a woman, if a man lies with a male, so if a man sleeps with another male as he lies with a woman, both of you have committed an abomination. That is an abomination. All right, man with man is an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. So it literally says, he picks it up one more step. He calls it an abomination. Male with male is an abomination. Our nation today is, our country today is like, hey, we shouldn't judge. God is saying it's an abomination, and these is what God is saying. Their blood shall be upon them. If a man marries a woman and her mother, it is wickedness. So don't marry a woman and her mother. It is wickedness. They shall be burned with fire. Both he and they are there. Be no wickedness among you. Hey, one of the most important things about reading God's word is we're trying to get an idea of how God is. Like, do you know who God is? And God is saying these things are wicked. So we're getting an idea of what God sees as wicked, and that way we can discern. So the more we read and the more we understand these things, the better you can discern. So if you see things like this, like, hey, that's wickedness. That's an abomination. Hey, God says not to do that. God says, but we're getting to know God, and this is who God is. He's saying, hey, if you lie with another man, it's wickedness. Like, and that's what God is saying. So no matter what the world tells us, it's not wickedness. It's freedom of expression, but yet God says it's wickedness. If a man lies with a man, it's wickedness. All right, that is uh, Leviticus chapter 20, verse 13. All right. All right. If a man mates with an animal, he shall surely be put to death and shall kill the animal. So you kill the animal and that person is killed. If a woman approaches any animal and mates with it, she shall be killed. The woman and this animal, they shall surely be put to death. Their blood is upon them. So knowing this is very serious. God takes this very serious. All right. If a man takes his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter and sees her nakedness, and she sees his nakedness, it is wicked thing. Don't see each other naked. And they shall be put off in the sight of their people. He has uncovered her sister's nakedness. He shall bear his guilt. So you're not being put to death here. You're just bearing your guilt. All right. It's a bad thing. It's wicked. Don't see each other naked. If a man lies with a woman during her sickness and uncovers her nakedness, he has exposed her flow, and she has uncovered the flow of her blood. Both of them shall be cut off from the people. Don't lie with a woman while she is on her period. That's what it's saying here. Both of them shall be cut off from their people. You shall not uncover the nakedness of your mother's sister, nor your father's sister, for that would uncover his near of kin. They shall bear their guilt. If a man lies with his uncle's wife, he has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. They shall bear their sin. They shall die childless. So if you see your uncle's wife naked, you're pretty much committing an act against your uncle. All right, lies with his uncle's wife. He has uncovered his uncle's nakedness. All right. If a man takes his brother's wife, it is unclean thing. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless. All right. Your brother is still alive, and you take his wife. You bear your brother's nakedness. Now remember, later on, they say, what if your brother dies? Can you take his wife? And then Moses said, yes, you can. Because you're trying to keep the generation. All right. But here is referring to if your brother is still alive. All right. Now in today's generation, do not take your brother's wife if your brother dies. No, this is due to population growth here. All right. But no, don't do that today. But in the law of Moses, you were able to. But don't do it. Here we go. 22. You shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and perform them, that the land where I am bringing you to dwell may not vomit you out. Hey, spoiler alert, they do get vomited out because they start breaking these things. These statutes and judgments, they start being broken little by little. And that is what's going to happen throughout the Bible. If God's going to tell them, don't do this. Now remember, all this started in the very beginning where God told Adam and Eve not to eat from this tree. And what they ate from the tree. Now God is saying here, you shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my judgments and perform them. The land where I am bringing you, the land of Israel, where I am bringing you to dwell, may not vomit you out. So don't do these things or else it will vomit you out. Remember, a nation will vomit you out if you perform these wicked acts. All right, that's why it's very important for our nation not to perform wicked acts, because the nation, it can vomit you out. And you shall not walk in the statutes of the nation which I am casting out before you, for they commit all these things, and there before abhor them. So, spoiler alert, they are going to get vomited out because they're going to commit these acts. Little by little, they're going to commit these acts. Remember, we got Babylon. Babylon is going to take over, and for 70 years, they're going to be in Babylon. They're going to be taken out of the land of Israel, and they're going to be in Babylon. All right. And exile from their land, but then after 70 years, they're going to come back to their land. All right, so that's one. They're going to be vomited out there. Another vomited out example would be, let me see, they go back. When are they taken out of the land of Israel again? I can't think of it right now. So one example is Babylon. They take them out. And then after that, It's MC Ezra. I got to think on that. But here we go. Let's see, Babylon. We got Book of Daniel, Babylon, and then we got what's after that? When are they taken out again? They're taken out Ezekiel. We got Daniel. There's warning, warning, warning. Zechariah. I'll get back to that. All right, here we go. We are in chapter 21. All right, Leviticus chapter 21. So, spoiler alert, they will be vomited out. All right. And the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the priest, the son of Aaron, and say to them, none shall defile himself for the dead among the people." All right. Here we go. "Except for his relatives who are nearest to him, his mother, his father, his son, his daughter, and his brother. Also his virgin sister who is near to him, who has had no husband, for her he may defile himself." All right. "Otherwise he shall not defile himself, being a chief man of his people, to profane himself. They shall not make any bald place of their heads, nor shall shave the edges of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. They shall be holy to their God, and not profane the name of their God. For they offer the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and the bread of their God. Therefore they shall be holy. They shall not take a wife who is a harlot, or defile a woman, nor shall they take a woman divorced from her husband. For the priest, it is holy to his God." Don't take a woman divorced from her husband, for the priest is holy to his God. "Therefore ye shall consecrate him, for he offers the bread of your God. He shall be holy to you, for I am the Lord who sanctifies you. I am holy." So God said, "I am holy. The daughter of any priest, if she profanes herself by playing the harlot, she profanes her father. She shall be burned with fire." Like I said, God's laying a hammer here. The priest's daughter cannot become a harlot. She will be burned with fire. That is huge. God is not playing that. "He who is high priest among his brethren, whose head the anointing oil was poured, and who is consecrated to wear the garments, shall not uncover his head, nor tear his clothes. Nor shall he go near any dead body, nor defile himself for his father or his mother. Nor shall he go out of the sanctuary, nor profane the sanctuary of his God, for the consecration of the anointing oil of God is upon him. I am the Lord. And he shall take a wife in her virginity." So he can only take a virgin wife. "A widow or a divorced woman, or defiled woman, or a harlot. These he shall not marry, but he shall take a virgin of his own people as his wife." So don't take a harlot. Anybody who's not a virgin, do not. A high priest cannot take them as a wife. "Nor shall he profane his posterity among his people, for I the Lord sanctify him." And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Aaron, saying, no man of your descendants is succeeding generation who has any defects may approach to offer the bread of his God. For any man who has a defect shall not approach. A man blind or lame, who has marred face, or any limb too long, a man who has a broken foot or a broken hand, or is hunchback or dwarf, or a man who has defects in his eye, or eczema or scab, or is inuit. No man of the descendants of Aaron the priest who has defected shall come near to offer the offering made by the fire of the Lord. He has a defect, he shall not come near to offer the bread of his God. He may eat the bread of his God, both the most holy and the holy. Only he shall go near the veil or approach the altar, because he has defect, lest he profane my sanctuary, for I the Lord sanctify them. All right, that is a tough one. All right, that is a tough one. Not even a dwarf. That's crazy. "And Moses told it to Aaron and his sons and all the children of Israel." All right, so that is chapter 21. I'm going to leave it there at chapter 21. So we read chapter 16 to 21. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you very much for being on. All right, I really appreciate it. I'll be back live tomorrow. All right, please like, subscribe. All right, I'll be very thankful. All right, God bless you. Thank you very much.